So, what did they, give me a second. Better. What did the earthquake say after it happened? My fault. Okay. So you guys usually know that if it's a bad dad joke, that I have a really kick-ass guest coming on the show, and nothing's different. So how about you guys stay tuned? Again, go grab your popcorn. You got about, I don't have a watch, 20 seconds. I'm about to play the intro. Coming back, we're going full steam. So yeah, stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest podcast now in America. Welcome to the greatest podcast now in the world. Welcome to the greatest podcast in the universe. I'm your host with the most charisma to boast. This is Blur to Prove Entertainment's A Pin Down. I am Desmond Pin. Welcome for all you guys who don't know who I am. Probably shouldn't. I'm not going to lie. I don't really get out much. I kind of just started going full steam ahead with wrestling and podcasts and everything. But my name is Desmond Pin. I have been a humongous fan of wrestling, probably as much, if not just a little bit shorter than my guest coming on. So if you're big into the wrestling TikTok, wrestling Instagram scene, you probably know people like BDE, Vibe, Suplex. But there's also somebody that I recently became a fan of, and I'm really happy I was able to contact her. I kind of have to get a little crafty. We'll go into it when it comes in, but I finally got her on the show. We're here. SmackDown just packed up. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any more waiting, here comes my guest, Minerva, aka Minnieportable.
Hi.
Hi. So again, so happy to have you on the show. I already brought you in earlier, and I told you that. Again, just very happy to sing a mercy for my audience. Kind of like I told them, I recently just became a fan of your work, but at the same time, I love it. You're definitely like top 5 of the people who like I actively follow on Instagram and look at like the wrestling hot takes, the wrestling memes. Recently became a big fan of your Twitch channel. But there is one thing I want to bring up, kind of the story house. So as you know, you probably know, and anybody else out there who works with this podcast or entertainment, you're trying to, reach out, cold email, cold call people. So I actually cold emailed you a couple of times. And I remember just like, I never take it personal. I said this before, I never take it personal if the person doesn't see the email or even sees and doesn't respond back. We all have busy lifestyles. But I remember like, I sent the email, I was like, okay, man, I'm excited, I'm looking forward. But then you posted a video where you're like, here I am trying to collaborate, but people are just wanting me to power drive them as soon as
Yeah. I mean, I'm also memeing. Like at the same time, I am memeing. Like I know that I do get reached out to do collabs and stuff, but like I have to think as a content creator, I know what will get like things going. So I obviously meme that. Yeah, I get a lot of those.
I didn't take it personal. Like I did. But I remember this being like, I'm out here actually like trying. I'm like, but the perverts are the reason like I can't get a person on the show. But again, I'm happy I got you. So I think I reached out in your comment section, and I was like, okay, hopefully like sees this, and then pretty much we're here now. So I just wanted to thank you. So again, I meant to say this when I first I see you have a dog on here. I'm pretty sure your audience knows your dog, but for my audience, do you want to go into who the dog is?
This is Gia. I just got her like, I want to say 3 weeks now. 3 weeks. Right. She is a rescue dog, so she needs a lot of attention. If not, she will go crazy, which is why I'm holding her right now, because if I'm not, she will be going crazy. But yeah, this is Gia. She had a lot of trauma before, but yeah, I'm here now. I'm here and I'm saving her, but yeah.
Okay. Is it your first dog, period, or like?
No, I always had a dog growing up, but I haven't had this type of dog before. She's a Maltipoo, and I feel like they're a lot harder than Chihuahuas because I've always had like Chihuahua Terriers growing up.
Right.
I've had like 3. and they've been easy for me. But her, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm paying a dog trainer. I'm like, I don't know what to do with her.
I'm not good at this. Like,
yeah. I'm like, I thought I was good with dogs. I'm not good at it.
You're just showing her a picture of like wrestling, like like MJF.
No, oh my God. Okay, speaking of that, so I am paying a dog trainer to train her, but I'm also paid that dog trainer to train her to do like kind of like put your paw on this, because I'm obviously planning on doing like a TikTok out of it. I think I'm just gonna I'm gonna just spoil it here, because I mean, if it happens, then cool. If it doesn't, well, you guys know where I was going with this. But I was gonna put MJF and Roman Reigns, and I was gonna have her choose MJF. You know, put her little paw on it. So that's a big, yeah. I was like, who do you like more? And she just chooses MJF. So yeah.
That I'm gonna be on the lookout for that, and then I'm gonna highlight this when you post. I'm gonna
yes, as you should. Yes.
So for people who don't know you too much, I kind of already gave you a bit of an introduction. You're very big on pro wrestling, TikTok and Instagram. You're like one of the people who I kind of always see in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it might be the same for other people, and maybe you can kind of go into if maybe like you saw a spike. But how I remember meeting you first, like on my phone, is Drew to Suplex. I remember like you said something, then he commented, and that led to you guys battling it out around WrestleMania weekend, if I'm not mistaken, or just whenever. Do you want to go into that? Like, or was it?
Oh yeah.
Like, how the experience was? Like, was it kind of like a fun experience? Was that like your first time content creating with somebody else? Or
so I posted a thirst trap video. I've been doing wrestling content creation since 2020, so like almost 3 years now, and I barely have received any recognition from it.
It's a shame.
In my opinion, my content was good. Okay, I always thought that my content is really good. I don't know why it's receiving no engagement. That one thirst trap video goes viral. Suplex responds to it. He was like the third one to like stitch it. I responded to his response, and then he responded to my response, and then I responded to his response, and obviously we ended up having a match. Did you watch the match, by the way?
I did, actually. I didn't even know it existed. Like, I knew you guys were like feuding, and I'm gonna be honest, just because like we're in a day and age where internet and computers run the world, I didn't know if it was fake or not. Like, I didn't know if, because there were some times where it sounded like you were actually snapping back at him and he was snapping back at you, but then when it built up to the match, I'm like, oh, okay, no, like, this is real. Like, two people who hate each other wouldn't, like, choreograph a match.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we had a match at a park. Took real bumps, by the way. Obviously, we talked about it, and we're like, if you do this, I'm gonna take it. If you do this, I'm gonna take it. So my slap, way better than Bad Bunny hitting Damian Priest, by the way. Like, and I'm not getting paid for that. Like,
Bad Bunny, man.
No shade on Bad Bunny, but the amount of money that man is getting paid for that slap, I'm like, I hit a real slap, and Suplex took it.
You would have done a real slap and been like, cry about it. Told Bunny and Damian cry about it.
Yeah. But okay, so
and you won the match,
and I won the match.
Yeah, but for all you people who thought I was just saying I watched it just because she's my guest, no, I actually did watch it. She won the match with a choke out. So this, just in case, for all you people who think I was lying about that. But
with a choke out. But also, what else happened?
All right, so I remember you guys met up. He kind of gave you an opportunity to walk away. And I remember he actually started walking away, and I forget what you said, and then I just have a terrible memory. But I remember he turned around, you guys started going at it. And I remember kind of wondering, I was like I was kind of impressed, because usually whenever like people do stuff, it kind of comes off pretty lazy. If that makes sense. Like, it doesn't really have good editing chops. It's like the weakest hits, like, if somebody gets slammed, it's like the most baby cradle slam. But I remember actually being like, and that even like opened my eyes, because I was like, man, like I could probably do something like this, like if I really put into it. But that's kind of way down the line. But I just remember you put him in a chokehold. and he had to call you something. I want to say, God,
Yeah.
what
What is it? Okay. It's
Mommy,
my yes.
I got it. Okay, yeah,
Yes.
because I was
Yes.
like, I was like, it was something wrestling related. I was like, Rhea Ripley, Mommy, like that has to be it.
Yes.
I remember, and he called you it, and then you let him go. You did.
That's how I would. Yes.
That was, it's a quote Vince McMahon. That was some good shit. I was very, very much sports entertained, or whatever you guys are going for, whatever genre. I was definitely entertained. And to track back to so kind of like you said, you're kind of getting to a point where you're starting to see more so relevancy with your pose. You're kind of getting a bit more views look at. This might be a little bit controversial, but like I have seen it in the rest community, especially like on the guy side. I do know like for like a lot of like quote unquote hardcore wrestling fans who are guys, it's more so like whenever like a female who's a wrestling fan comes on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or whatever, and they give a hot take or they're just kind of trying to have fun, I'll like, not all the time, I'll give it to wrestling fans. They're not as bad as they may or may not be, but like they'll kind of have like a problem more so, or like give you a lot of shit, if not just on gender alone, for shit that doesn't even matter, or like, and let's just be honest, people, it's not even hot takes as in like WWE and AEW suck. Like it's like just your normal ass wrestling hot takes. So like, do you think that could maybe go into and we don't have to dive too deep into it. It's kind of just something I was thinking about when getting the podcast ready. Do you think that might be a bit of an issue or a roadblock you might be having?
It's an issue all across TikTok when it comes to like just women in general, but when it comes to like women of Wrestle Talk, that is an issue. However, when it comes to me, I like to like fuel the fire. I post TikToks that I know will piss off wrestling fans and that will piss off the men that like wrestling. For me, I'm literally like, I don't really go and look in the comments, especially when I know that a video went viral off the wrong reasons. I ignore the comments. I'm like, whatever, please bring in the engagement, the followers, the views, the comments, like, thank you. But I purposely, like, in my head, I'm just kind of like, I have no haters because I don't look for them. I don't read the comments, Sometimes I stumble across the comments.
Yeah, like it's going to happen, I feel, especially with like how many views you get and how many people follow you. Like, you can't always avoid the negativity stuff. And I didn't see like too much on your posts of like people really being negative. Seems to be like a really awesome space. And like even the people who I worked with, they've had like very awesome like comment space and community, so where like people will reach out to me and like even like either like talk to me about a certain wrestling topic or discussion. But I remember seeing a video, I want to say it was the Black Wrestling Podcast, or it was even like Two Divas podcast, where they were talking about that, and like that was just something I kind of just never thought about, because like to me wrestling is wrestling. Like if you're a fan, welcome. Like, we're all weirdos. Like, wrestling is not that popular. So like if you're a fan, like I don't care if you're gay, straight, man or woman, like come in. Like just don't be toxic. Don't be, trying to hop in a car and shank Roman Reigns on Monday Night Raw. Like, but we can kick it. But even with that talk, did you run into any struggles being a wrestling fan, like growing up? Because I'm assuming like if you diving into wrestling, you had to probably been a wrestling fan as a kid. So did you run into any problems with wrestling growing up, whether it was just because wrestling's weird, or maybe was it because like you're a girl, you're not supposed to be into wrestling, you're supposed to be like into this other stuff that society says you're supposed to be in?
Yeah, that was pretty much my entire life. I got into wrestling just by passing by the TV, and I saw Eddie Guerrero. He was the first wrestler I ever saw, and I was like, oh, okay, what he's doing is cool. And like my dad and my brothers were watching it at the time. I passed by it and I was like, this is great. So I stayed to watch it. But my dad was also like, he's very like, he grew up in a culture that's very like strict. So he was like, you're a girl, you can't watch this. So he actually was like, you're not watching this at all. So I was like kicked out of like watching wrestling growing up. But I eventually got my own TV. and I was able to just watch it without, like them knowing and stuff. And the funny thing is that like I'm still a wrestling fan since that one time I spotted Eddie Guerrero, and none of them, like my brothers don't watch it, my dad doesn't watch it anymore. Like none of them are fans anymore.
You're just telling them all this wrestling stuff, like Roman Reigns beat Cody. They're like, who's Roman? Like, who's Cody? Like,
yeah. But so I was pretty much so now my family thinks I'm weird. They're like, you still watch that? Like, wow, that's fucking weird.
And you're making a career / job out of it.
They don't even know that. They don't even know that. But okay, but speaking of high school though,
right.
I had to be a closeted wrestling fan, even though I wasn't, because I would wear the same fucking DX shirt and the same Batista shirt over and over again, and I was being made fun of by like other girls in high school because they don't know what the fuck that is, Right. And I was a quiet kid. Like I was I was quiet, but I was also like a brawler. So.
I was like, you had a DX shirt. You were quiet, but you weren't.
No. I was quiet, but I was a brawler, so I got into a lot of trouble.
Lord.
So much where I had to change schools and all of that. But yeah, I've been a closeted fan. I want to say for almost my entire life because I didn't know anybody else that liked wrestling.
Well, I can relate to that because definitely growing up and even now, I only really have one person who I feel like I can like no shit shoot the breeze talking wrestling topics. It's a guy I actually just had on the show a couple episodes ago and I actually filmed an episode yesterday. Sam from Pro Wrestling Everything Official, PWE Official,
Okay.
Great person. So, but even before then, like I was scared to tell my now girlfriend that like I was a wrestling fan because I was like I don't want her like to start making fun. But little did I know, like my girlfriend was A-okay with it. She's like, yeah, like awesome. Like I'll watch it with you. Like she's watched 3 WrestleManias with me so far. Bianca Belair is her favorite. Seth Rollins is like her dude. So like she'll actually like whenever that match is happening, she'll give like some takes. I'm like you're a new wrestling fan. Like, why do you have a take like this? She's like, I don't know. Like that's
and she has takes.
What so I'm trying to slowly morph her into like my wrestling queen. Like,
yeah,
we're definitely going to Macho Man Randy Savage and Queen Elizabeth this bitch on YouTube. Like, believe it or not. But so with you being a closeted wrestling fan, what made you like kind of want to take the step into doing content and like actually pursuing like diving full head into pro wrestling?
Because it wasn't high school anymore, and in high school people are just immature and I don't know, like how people are. We've all experienced high school, but after that, when I've reached like in my like early 20s and I was like more outspoken about wrestling because I would talk about WrestleMania and I'm like, oh, there's a WrestleMania event, can you cover my shift? And they're like, what is that? And then they'd be so cool with it, like, and we're talking about like women too, and they're like, oh, you watched that? Oh, that's cool. And I was like, all right. So I felt more comfortable just like being open about it. I started posting it on my Instagram, but I never thought of becoming a content creator with wrestling up until 2020 when I was like, this is what I know, this is what I like.
And when the world shut down, so
exactly,
everybody
I had all
needed
that
to
time.
find a hobby.
Yeah. So, but then again, I still didn't receive like really any recognition from it. I received a nice community from it and I fucking adore them and love them because they're still here with me. And I love that they're here with me while they're seeing my growth because I only became recognizable just like 2 months ago.
Right.
So yeah. So I'm actually very grateful, and it's one thing for your one video to go viral, but it's also like another thing to keep the momentum going. And I think I'm doing a great job with it. So yeah.
Yeah, but that's because kind of like the same start I feel like most people have. Like they kind of get to a point where they're kind of tired of hiding like the fact that, and like that just goes with anything. That goes with like sexuality. That goes with just like interests and stuff that isn't really seen as weird or taboo even. Like, so like for me it was kind of the same way. Like in high school I was like, yeah, I'm not telling anybody. Like I'm not getting bullied. I'm not gonna have people like, I just don't feel like, I don't care, but I don't feel like hearing anything negative or people telling me like all this weird stuff. But then like when I got like 2021, I was like, nah, like I am a wrestling fan. Like I started like buying shirts. I started like actively talking about it. And that's what eventually made me to start a podcast and the show, and more so trying to reach out and build a community last year. But I feel like you might have already answered this question. but do you have a favorite superstar when you were younger? I kind of think you already answered it, but just wanted to say the question anyway.
Mhm.
And do you have any current favorite superstars now? And these can be superstars outside of WWE. It can be AEW, NWA, New Japan, All Japan, Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
All that. So,
Okay, so Eddie Guerrero was the one to get me into wrestling.
yes.
But when it comes to like my favorite, and I say this like all the time on my lives, it's really hard to be like to choose between these two. But these are the two that like really solidified wrestling for me. And it's Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle. And whenever I mention Kurt Angle, people are always like, Kurt Angle, really? And I'm just like, are you guys forgetting all the historic moments that he brought to us in the Attitude Era?
Kurt Angle's a goat.
Like, he's literally a goat. Kurt Angle, like, literally everything about Kurt Angle is so goated. Like, in-ring, mic skills, the way that he was able to just make a fool out of himself. And he was still over with the crowd. Like, that's insane. Also, the whole "you suck" chant, like, that's a compliment. Like, it's a compliment. Like,
would you breaking it down? Like, I feel like I always thought this, but would you breaking it down like that, how he can make a fool of himself but still put on 5-star classics, do all this, kind of shows like he's probably like he doesn't get enough credit for being like an all-around
like
great
a goat
professional wrestler. Yeah, like, because
yes,
like for most people, at least my wrestling circle, we all acknowledge Kurt Angle. Like, we're like, no, Kurt Angle is like top 10, like one of the best in-ring wrestlers. Like,
yeah,
if not top 5, and if not top 3, and if not number 1. Like, Kurt Angle is the GOAT. But I never really thought about like, dude, like Kurt Angle was like mad entertaining. Like in WWE Attitude Era, kind of like I said, Ruthless Aggression, and even going to TNA. And Shawn is like an excellent choice too, because like they had a match together. That's like one of the best WrestleMania matches I feel like people say about Shawn Michaels, if it wasn't for the Undertaker matches and the sequel to it.
Yeah, WrestleMania 25. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, that's like everybody's top choice for WrestleMania or top matches of all time. But it's just like, so Shawn Michaels is obviously one that's been thrown around as a GOAT. Respectfully, yes, 1,000% deserved, but I don't hear a lot of people say Kurt Angle, which is why I like, if I had to choose between those two, like, it would be Kurt Angle. Like, that man, like, I just think he doesn't have the credit that he deserves, and everybody knows that he's great, but nobody actually is like, he's a GOAT, you know?
You're really making me want to write. I write articles for wrestling, and you really have me wanting to write an article now, because you really just opened my eyes to like, Kurt Angle really is the GOAT of wrestling. If like we're really talking about has everything.
Yeah.
But so with Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels being the ones who kind of locked you into pro wrestling, and with them both being retired for a while now, who are the ones that are like currently keeping you in tune to wrestling, to where like if they were to disappear, you'd be like, I may have to take a sabbatical, or like I may stop watching?
I got this.
I feel like MJF is one.
Yes. I got it. Yeah.
I've been following for a little bit, and I know MJF is like one of your favorites.
If there's two people, if they leave AEW, I don't think I would probably no. I would probably still watch AEW, but I wouldn't be like as invested. But MJF and Kenny Omega, if they leave wrestling, I'm just kind of like, I don't know what the fuck to do.
I can understand.
I'll watch WWE for Seth Rollins. But like, what's really keeping me as invested? You know,
they're keeping you invested right now as pro wrestling in a whole. So we're like, because I feel like even though like WWE is still included in the world of professional wrestling, we kind of always like, okay, WWE and professional wrestling, like professional wrestling, everything outside of WWE. WWE is like it's weird, unique, like it's sports entertainment pro wrestling. It's not pro wrestling. So, like, is that, like, kind of a good way to word it, in a sense? Or maybe not?
I think it used to be that way. And I'm not talking about the Attitude Era or the Ruthless Aggression Era. I'm more so talking about, like, the PG era coming into, like, now. Even though now they have been having bangers after bangers though. Like WWE has produced great matches and great storytelling. The thing about like anything else outside of WWE that I think people don't understand is you need a good storyline to have a really good match. If you're not invested in the story or the characters, then that match can be good, but it's not going to be a fucking banger, like a 5-star match all around, you know? Like your emotions will not be invested.
I agree. So with that, that kind of can lead me to my next question. What's your favorite current matches that like have been happening? And what's like maybe a favorite old match of yours where you're like, this match happened way back in like 2005 or 2007, but like it is still a match I would go back and watch, or like it's the first match I remember blowing my mind.
Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna go to the first or your second question, which was like all-time match that I still watch. It's Kenny Omega versus Okada, Wrestle Kingdom 11. That's nice. Literally the fucking match that I will go back and watch. The thing about that match, though, I don't know if you have access to that match anymore, but I used to have it in my old PC, and I would watch it all the time. But now when I Google it, I can't find it. It's a hard match. Yeah,
yes.
They're fucking litigious. I'm like, God. I'm on YouTube searching this, and I'm like, I can't find it anymore.
They're like Mr. Inoki.
Yeah, I'm like,
someone watching Kenny Omega, not on the New Japan Pro Wrestling World. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, so
Minerva, get rid of that shit.
I have to find, like, I don't know, I got to figure out a way to find that match again, because that's a match that I would watch all the time.
That's a very controversial match too, because like, and it's a great match. Like I've watched the whole match, and this was like I watched it when I was like arguably like strictly a WWE guy. I didn't really watch it too much outside of WWE, and like that match I think made me more so get interested in like what's outside of WWE. But it's controversial because you know this as a wrestling fan probably, you know, there's like this new argument of like wrestlers who do flips and super kicks and like dives, it's not real wrestling, and it's usually people who are just saying stuff that, and it's usually people who are saying stuff that like old veteran favorite wrestlers of theirs are saying, and they're saying it to sound cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I almost leaned into that one. I hate to say, yes, I'd say this one, Penn almost leaned into that. But again, like to me, I kind of just learned like pro wrestling, it's wrestling. You like what you like. Like, so
Yes.
with Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada, WrestleMania 11, what's like an oldie match? And you know, you don't have to go super far back, but like this, what's a match where you're like, this happened some years ago, and I love it. Like it's so one of my favorites.
That one was like my only match. Yeah, that one was my only match.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that one was. I mean, we could do HBK and Undertaker, but they're like around like the same time, maybe.
Yeah, they're not so far apart.
They're not too far.
Wow.
Yeah, when I'm talking about like,
I'm not gonna edit that. I gotta show that.
I mean, actually, I could say HBK versus Triple H versus Lord Voldemort. I could say that one is another banger. So that one would be older than the ones that I mentioned.
Wait, a part of me wants to ask because I'm clueless.
You, Lord Voldemort? He who shall not be named.
Oh!
Oh my God!
Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, yes, okay. All right, I guess.
Yes. Okay, so
yes.
that.
Thank you for not saying that. I had a person on the podcast, and they were like, "Oh yeah, like I like the match of this person and this guy who did some bad shit." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, good." I'm like, I am dumb, bro.
Oh no!
I almost walked up for that. Okay, yes, yeah, we're not gonna. Woo,
okay. But yeah, so if you want to talk about like, yeah, that's like an older match. That's also really, okay. Okay, so like currently, like a more current one would be the dog collar match between CM Punk and MJF.
Ooh.
That would also be like.
I saw that one live on TV while I was going. That one was a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not like the biggest CM Punk like person. Like I do love CM Punk, but I'm not like, if CM Punk leaves AEW, I'm not watching. Like I'm not that.
Into it. The same.
But all right, so we've gone over pretty much your favorite wrestlers who kind of got you into wrestling, your tough upbringing with being a wrestling fan, and how you had to be a closeted fan for so long, and even quite possibly still am now. So with you kind of being free-spirited wrestling-wise, you're kind of like going full steam into having wrestling on your Twitch on there. Do you have a part of you that wants to like extend outside of wrestling? Like, is there stuff that Minerva might be a fan of that might like even shock some people? 'Cause I feel like with wrestling content, they think like, oh, this person eats and breathes wrestling, but they're also human. So like they like stuff outside of wrestling and have plans. So are there any plans for the future that you're kind of wanting to do?
Do you mean like professionally or just like my other interests?
I'll say professionally. I'm not gonna dive into your personal life. This podcast ain't that big to be diving. This ain't Oprah now.
Okay.
But I'll say like with like your Twitch, with your Instagram, with your TikTok, like are you trying to like build more of the wrestling on TikTok, but at the same time maybe build stuff outside of wrestling, even on your media, on your social media platforms?
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to become Twitch partner. That was like the number one goal when I first started streaming. Right. But it's been a harder journey than expected. It's also mostly my fault because I'm never consistent with my streams. Right. But yeah, I definitely do want to become a Twitch partner. I have been starting to post on YouTube recently. Basically, this might sound like super narcissistic or whatever, but I also understand like the conventional wrestling fan. I understand like, you know, people think of wrestling fans as like neckbeards and all this other crap, right? So like basically I just want to like use the aesthetic that I was given to make wrestling cool again, you know, like if I can bring in viewers and like see like, oh wait, this girl's talking about wrestling, okay, let me pay attention, and hopefully I can bring in more eyes to wrestling, because wrestling is fucking cool.
Trying to make it mainstream even.
Yeah, exactly. And it shouldn't be like oh my god, you like wrestling? Like that's kind of weird, or like, oh, it's fake, you know? Like, no, like it's fucking cool. If you give it a chance, it's pretty great. And the people that are wrestlers are role models. Like, they've inspired us to all be great. Like, exactly. I mean, just like seeing Bianca on your thing, like, it's just reminding me to work out tomorrow. Like, like, you know what I'm saying?
Same with John Cena on mine.
Yeah, and then John Cena, and I'm like, shit, I gotta do something with my life. You know, like they're inspiring people.
Yeah, wrestling is very much mainstream to me, even though it isn't. And if that makes sense, I'll maybe, wow, another article I did, but we're not going to go into that. I'm really going to get narcissistic if I start doing that. But before we started, we did a little talking. This is a little behind the scenes sort of pinned down for all the audience. There were 2 ideas that you have bubbling up, and I'm not even going to try to hype it. I'm just going to let you usher them, take as long as you want explaining them. And yeah, I found them very interesting. I'll say that.
Hey, so if you want to be a part of these 2 content ideas, great. So the first one is boyfriend applications. I mean, that's like a Twitch thing in general. Like, you just submit your application to be my online boyfriend. That's idea number 1. Idea number 2, though.
This one.
We're all fucking nerds, right? And we all like to test our wrestling knowledge, and we like to think that we know it all. So I just like to guess wrestling themed entrances, but I will give myself 1 minute to guess 30 wrestling entrance theme songs. And when I say wrestling, I mean WWE, AEW. I think I'm gonna add New Japan in there, but only like the top stars, because I'm not gonna know. I know. You know what? I'm just gonna say WWE and AEW. 30 wrestling entrance theme songs. If I don't guess it in 1 minute, I will be twerking on my stream.
Hey Jimmy, you heard it first on the episode.
So that will be in like 2 weeks or so. So yeah, get ready.
So even with this, and I'm gonna gas you up a little bit. I'm a big I'm a big believer in gassing people up, especially if I think like they're talented and everything. But I feel like that like shows a bit of a testament to your mind, because like even while you were talking about like ideas and how like I know you're saying even before the podcast, again, something behind the scenes action, you were talking about how you're like, no, like sometimes I just like go in and see like what's making wrestling fans mad, and you're like, and I'll like send in a take that I know is gonna like get them heated, but it's gonna get me more looks at and views. And you're like, it's more so kind of like this playing, like kind of like flipping the game on his head, I guess. That sounded so 2005, but I very much so want to gas you up, and kind of like I said with Miss Dickums, she was on this not so long ago. Same with Sam from PW Official. I try to get people on the show who I see them as really smart or really unique with what they're doing. And you definitely very much, and even the conversation we've had in this interview, which we're about to wrap up, and even just the conversation beforehand, it very much so opened my eyes to like what you're trying to do with making wrestling more entertaining than it is right now on social media, as well as just trying to market it to make it more mainstream, make it to where someone who was like you in elementary school and high school having trouble having to be a closeted wrestling fan doesn't have to be a closeted wrestling fan. They can just be someone who loves wrestling the same way someone likes Game of Thrones, or someone likes Harry Potter, or someone likes even anime. Anime is like arguably a bit more popular than pro wrestling is, in my opinion. So I do definitely just kind of want to give you that credit, gas you up. I definitely do feel like if anyone can get that difficult assignment done, I definitely think it could be you.
Thank you.
Even just from us talking, very much so, have kind of already decided in my mind. This interview already did it, but I already decided in my mind just talking that like I'm gonna like you're gonna definitely be like an active person I follow, support, try to like every video I see, share it, hopefully even like get you back on the platform, get you back on the podcast, collab with you later on. But I did just want to give you, I guess, that little bit of a gas up. That didn't really sound like much of a gas up to me. I wish I could have said more and did a better job at it. And who knows, after this, I might even do that. I might just kind of just try and throw more compliments your way. But I do want to thank you for coming on the show. I did know that you said you didn't have too much time. We kind of set a time limit, and also it's late. You got to wake up for the gym because Bianca Belair just told you so. And John.
That's right. Yeah.
Any last things you want to say? Any advice you want to give to closeted wrestling fans, or even people like you who are like contemplating going full steam ahead with their wrestling passion?
Okay, well, first, thank you for having me, and thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. This was a lovely experience, so thank you for that. You're a great host. As far as like closeted wrestling fans, I'm just like, don't give a shit what people have to think. I don't know if I can curse on this stream.
Sorry. No, yeah, feel free.
Okay, don't give one rat's ass about what people think about you, because be your true authentic self, because once you are your true self, you will see all the flowers coming your way, just like I did. I finally was just kind of like, you know what, I know all my friends know that I like wrestling, but they don't know how much I like wrestling. I just started posting on TikTok, and well, here we are now. So yeah, it's been great.
Like, hey, I like wrestling. They're like, oh yeah, we know. And you just showed them the MJF reel. Like, no, like I like wrestling. Like, oh
yeah, but the great thing about that too is like it is who I am though. That's my personality. I make a lot of like dumb, horny jokes all the time in person. So when they see it, they're not like, oh my god. They're just kind of like. They're like, good one. I'm like, okay, great. Glad you understood it. Like, that's it.
I even think like that's good too, because like if anything, a bunch of wrestlers said this, like the key to getting popular is like to blend in your real self and like your quote unquote character.
Yeah, like,
so, like the fact that Minnieportable has a little bit of Minerva blended into her, to where you don't have to try, you don't have to like get into character. You can just easily hop on that screen and like, let's go at it. Like, let's be, let's get as goofy, let's get as nerdy as we can be. But we're going to wrap it up. I do want to thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm grateful. I felt like this was a good experience for me as well. You definitely kind of opened my eyes to some concepts, some ideas that were already cooking. There might be time to get off the stove. I'm trying to come up with new slang, and it just ain't working today. But,
hey, I liked it. I liked it.
Yeah, okay.
It's time to get it off the stove. Got it. All right.
We're going to trademark it tomorrow then. Good. I got one. That's all it takes. I'm very easy to. But thank you so much for coming on it. Guys, definitely do give her a follow. Minnieportable on IG. It's the same on TikTok, if I'm not mistaken.
All across TikTok.
Okay, it's all across.
Yeah, Twitter, Instagram. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely follow her. She's a great person. I really think you'll love her content. If you love the show, consider this an obligation. If you want to enjoy the show, you got to follow Minerva, aka Minnieportable. So thank you so much for coming on the show. I hope to see you again, whether or not it's like in-person interview where I'm cooler, I have a bigger budget, and I'm not in my room doing this. But I just want to say again, thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you all for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the night. Thank you. Godspeed.
Bye.